What's up guys, Digga here from ProNDC. Welcome to another ESO build video. So in today's video I want to talk about the Magicka Dragonknight PVE build for the Summerset Chapter. A lot of you people waited for the Magicka Dragonknight, and if you want to know if it's actually good again, stay tuned.
I won't admit this, sits on my chest. Won't let my guard down, no not again. You break my bones out like sticks and stones. Won't let my guard down, leave me alone. I won't make it out alive. I just like the way it hurts when the fire burns me. When the fire burns me, when the fire burns me, you know that I won't make it out alive. When the fire burns, when the fire
So that was a DPS test. I'm really sorry for the graphic errors and the stuttering in the video. I used Shadowplay for it because I forgot to turn on my usual recording software, and Shadowplay sometimes causes some issues with the video file, so I don't really know what's happening. So I'm really sorry for that. However, that was the only gameplay that I had left that yeah, basically showed the rotation and some decent results with the current setup, like the setup that I'm about to show you. So as for the stats, I am a Dark Elf. Dark Elf is hands down the best race from Magicka Dragonknight. There is no arguing about that. The only other race that I would recommend is High Elf. However, Dark Elf is much stronger compared to High Elf. We have all points in Magicka. We have 42.4k max Magicka, 17.5k health with max health and Magicka food. And those are the other stats. Yeah, you're not seeing it wrong. I'm using the Thief Wonderstone. So it was really funny because I was using the Apprentice all along, and then I think it was either my Mag Sword or Mag Blade build video where one of my viewers, he asked if on the Mag Blade you can actually use Burning Spellweave Answer Warrior and switch in the Thief Wonderstone to get more crit chance and yeah, get the two sets to stack spell damage. And I was pretty sure that Apprentice always out DPSs the Thief Wonderstone since the nerf, but for some very interesting reason I got way more consistent and better results with the Thief Wonderstone on the Magicka Dragonknight. So yeah, the Thief Wonderstone for extra crit chance, the Apprentice is not that much weaker. However, in Trials we have additional crit buffs or crit damage buffs, and Thief Moonstone with the extra spell crit chance will just give us a little bit more DPS in Trials. So yeah, that's basically all there is to it. Let's have a look at sets. So I am currently wearing the Perfect Sororia set. Hey, who would have guessed it? So this is hands down the best Magicka DPS set there is in the game. We get spell damage minus Slayer, 2 times max Magicka, and then we create this fire ring when we deal direct damage attack, direct damage with the either our light attacks or direct damage abilities, and then we get the stacks of Sororia's boon. They stack up to 20 times. Each stack increases your spell damage by 30, so we get a maximum of 600 spell damage. We get really good uptimes if we can stay inside the circle, and even with low amount of stacks or bad uptimes on high stacks, it's still stronger than any other set out there. I think it was Lindeld. Shout out to him. He did a test and compared Bearing Spell Weave with Sororia on his Mag Blade, and he walked out of the circle as soon as the circle appeared. So he only had a 30 spell damage increase, and compared to Burning Spell Weave, it just did slightly less DPS on the 26 mil Centurion. So slightly less DPS. So because of that, yeah, Sororia, if you get a few stacks, and it's really easy to get, I don't know, like 10 stacks minimum, should be really easy in every fight. This set is hands down the best set in the game for Magicka DPS. We combine that, who would have thought, with Burning Spell Weave. So I have 1 Bloodthirsty right now with 2 Arcane. This gave me basically the most consistent good results. However, 3 Arcane was very close to it. And like the maximum results I got was with 3 Bloodthirsty. However, I only recommend to go with 3 Bloodthirsty if you have really short fights in a really good group. If you want to play it safe, if you do not want to squander all your transmute crystals, go with 3 Arcane. You do not have to transmute any of your jewelry pieces, and you will still deal really good DPS. So if you want to play safe, go 3 Arcane. I just have 1 piece of Bloodthirsty because that gave me a little bit better results, but only on the skeletons. In a trial environment it might look different, so I recommend to go with 3 Arcane. 1 Bloodthirsty is just like how I played in a DPS test. So if you have all Arcane, your stats would look like this. So 43.7k max Magicka, which is nice. We of course have a Burning Spell Weave staff on the front, infused with a Flame Damage Glyph. This is however hard to get. So I can imagine for you guys it would be hard to get this staff. So Burning Spell Weave gives us Magicka spell damage spell crit, and when we deal flame damage with the flame damage ability, we have a 15% chance to apply the burning status effect, increasing our spell damage by 525 for 8 seconds, and this has a 12-second cooldown. So basically it's active for 8 seconds, then an additional 4 seconds until the 12-second cooldown is done, and then we can activate again. So the maximum uptime would be 66%. However, with front barring it on the Mag Decay, because I cast so many abilities on the back bar, I get relatively poor uptimes of around 50%. So like I think like in a DPS test I only had like 48% uptime on Spell Weave. Maybe you get better uptime if you switch around the rotation a little bit, but with like the fixed rotation I do not get that good uptimes, but it was still the best set combination I tested. I tested a lot. I tested Acuity, I tested Elfbane with Sororia, I tested Elfbane with Burning Spell Weave, and all different kinds of stuff. So Burning Spell Weave was still the best option, even with the bad uptimes. Yeah. We combine that with a Maelstrom Inferno Staff infused with a Berserker enchantment on it, and then we have Zang, 1 heavy, 1 medium piece for the Undaunted bonus. So we get spell crit, and then of course this fire beam that deals a ton of DPS. So what could you replace Sororia with? So you can replace Sororia, of course, with the regular one. Like go in normal Cloud Rest and farm with a regular Sororia set. Really easy to get. You can also farm it in Veteran +0. So just clear the side bosses, get some armor pieces there, and then you can kill the main boss. You can even just leave, like, not kill the main boss, just farm the mini bosses all the time, reset the trial to just farm regular Sororia or Reliquant or Lorima pieces, or whatever set you need. And yeah, that really it's like you can do it really quickly. You can also run Burning Spellweave on the body and just go with a different combination here. So for example, if you can already craft it, if you have enough traits analyzed, you can just go with Julianos. So like get a Julianos staff and then 3 rings, put spell damage glyphs on it, and then you're also good to go for the start. Keep in mind, if you go with Julianos, I do not really recommend to go with the Thief Wonder Stone. You have a little bit less crit chance, but go with the Apprentice to make up for the missing spell damage of Sororia. So yeah, Mother Sorrow also works, but I wasn't really happy with the result. If you go with Mother Sorrow, also go with the Apprentice. I also said that I tested Elfbane. So for Elfbane, your setup would look like this. So you just replace Burning Spellweave with Elfbane. And the only, like, there's a few downsides to Elfbane. We spent a lot of time on the front bar because of Elfbane, because Elfbane gives us Magicka, spell damage, and increases the duration of a flame damage abilities by 2 seconds. So we do not have to recast our dots all the time. Because of that, we do not really activate the Berserker enchantment that often. So we have lower uptimes on a Berserker enchantment because of that. And number 2, because Elfbane is actually a heavy armor set, we have to wear two light monster set pieces. Okay, Zahn and light, Upulets. So we have 5 pieces of Elfbane. We need, like, the optimal combination would be a heavy chest and legs, which I have here. So 2 heavy pieces and then 5 light pieces. Because of that, we lose max stats. So we only have 43k Magicka, but we still have the same amount of health, because every health heavy armor piece adds 2% HP. Then we have Sororia only front barred. Before people ask, yes, you still get enough uptime on the maximum stacks. So I tested it all the time, and you still have you still get no downtime on the stacks. It's relatively close, but you can still make it. So front barring Sororia, even on the Mag Decay, is not an issue. Another option that you have would be, okay, I have 5 Sororia here now. So another option that you have, no, wait, that's wrong, I'm sorry, is 5 Sororia, 3 willpower, and then again Zahn, and you combine it with the perfected Asylum Inferno Staff. Of course, you then need to play with Force Pulse. You need to change your bar setup a little bit, but it also works. Don't go with the Thief Wonder Stone, go with the Apprentice. I had better results with the Apprentice compared to the Thief, because like the additional spell damage from the Apprentice made up for the missing spell damage of Burning Spellweave. And yeah. So 5 Sororia, 2 Zahn, willpower, then the Asylum perfected Inferno, and then VMA Inferno. You can also play with Mechanical Acuity instead of Sororia. It wasn't that much worse, but like, because if you play with Force Pulse, you have enough direct damage to actually proc Acuity again. I also tested like 3 Acuity jewelry pieces with a staff on the front bar, or like Sororia jewelry pieces, and then 2 body with Acuity on the body and the staff. And Acuity, like, I got up times between 18 to 22%, and that was horrible. And it was more of a gamble. I do not like to gamble when I'm trying to go for DPS. Like, if you're lucky, you get good procs and you can get like 25-26% uptime. But I really didn't. Yeah, like at the start of the PTS, Acuity was hands down the best set combination with Sororia, but now it's just like go with Burning Spellweave instead. I had so much better results. So that's why we equip Burning Spell Weave again. So yeah, that's basically it for the sets. Like, you have a lot of different options, and this one here is the best set combination that I used so far. Let's talk about skills. So we have pretty basic skills. We have Molten Whip, so we changed the morph of the whip again, because we basically off-balance uptime, like off-balance uptime, you can flame lash here. The power lash, you barely use it anymore. Like, for example, like here, like just to read the tooltip, targeting an off-balance enemy changes this ability into power lash, allowing you to lash an enemy with more intense flame to deal 11,000 flame damage, stun them for 2 seconds, and heal you for 13.6k over 2 seconds. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds, so this has a downtime. So you can only use the flame lash or the power lash basically once every time you proc off balance, and you actually have to be on the front bar. So going with the other morph is just stupid. Molten Whip increases the spell and weapon damage for our Ardent Flame abilities by 101. So that's really, really powerful, because we have 2 Ardent Flame abilities in the front bar. Engulfing Flames, really good single target dot, lasts 10 seconds. Affected enemies take 10% more damage from all fire damage attacks. So that doesn't count just for you, but for all your teammates, really important. And then we have Burning Embers, really good single target dot. Also heals us for 75% of the total damage when it ends. So basically when you recast it, you always heal yourself. Then we have Spell Symmetry. You can go with Balance. I just liked the extra cost reduction of 25% for my next Magicka spell, and in 6 seconds a little bit more. However, Balance makes you more tanky, because it gives you major, what was it, like major ward and resolve, like buffing your crit, your spell and physical resistance by 5.2k. That's really, really cool. It's basically like no, Draconic Power here. It's basically like spiked armor. Yeah, major resolve, major ward, but you just get it from Balance. So for Balance, you trade health for HP. Get 3k Magicka. People will be like, okay, you drop down HP. Like, it's not a big deal, trust me. Because back then, like prior to like 1.6, everyone played with Spell Symmetry. You didn't have champion points at that point. You didn't have like cost reduction and more recovery. And people really, really needed the sustain. So Spell Symmetry was a must-have for DDs in a trial environment. And you get a lot of healing anyways, and then you also heal yourself with Burning Embers. So when you use Spell Symmetry, make sure to use it before you use your Burning Ammo. So basically, I just do my whips, then use Spell Symmetry, Engulfing Flames, and Burning Embers. But I will get to that when I talk about the rotation. Then we have Inner Light. Increases our max Magicka by 5%, and because of the Magicka controller passive here, I gain 2% Magicka and recovery by slotting Inner Light and Spell Symmetry. So that's really nice. Then we have Fiery Rage. We only basically, oh my god, I'm sorry. We only use it in trash fights. So we have a passive here, Ancient Knowledge. Flame Staff increases your damage done with single target abilities by 8%. That's really, really important. And we need a Destruction Staff ability for that. We do not have any free slot here, so we just go with the ultimate. On the back bar, we use Standard of Might. Oh wait, with Standard of Might. So Standard of Might increases the damage we do, and it decreases the damage we take by 15%. This is really, really, really powerful. And then also deals additional damage. It's really expensive, but this is the best ultimate that we can use in a Mag DK. Then we have Harness Magicka here. Basically our damage shield. If we have fights where you do not need a shield, we just go with the second No Light on the back bar. But if you want to play it safe, just go with the shield. Then we have Flames of Oblivion. Really good ability, hits really hard. 4 times for each cast. It hits when you cast it, then after 5 seconds, then 10 and 15 seconds. So 4 hits total, really strong. The only ability, by the way, that does not get buffed by Elfbane. So all other abilities last 2 seconds longer, just not Flames of Oblivion. We have Eruption. not really strong, but really long. It lasts 18 seconds, which is really nice. So that perfectly lines up with the 15-second duration of Flames of Oblivion. Same goes for Rearming Trap. You put it down, it activates after 1.5 seconds, then the buff and the dot lasts for 6 seconds, then it has to reactivate itself again after 1.5 seconds, and then again 6 seconds. So that's really cool. Also 15 seconds total here. And perfectly lines up with these three skills. So basically these are all long dots. This gives us minor force. Increasing our critical damage by 10%. We could use from the Citic Order acceleration. However, I just like Rearming Trap more because I'm melee anyway on the Magicka. Only in fights where I have to move a lot, I'd go with acceleration. And also it costs stamina, so we do not strain our Magicka pool that much. Then we have Blockade of Fire, activates our Maelstrom Staff. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. AoE damage over time skill. So, champion points for the green tree. So there are certain fights where you want to use Clockwork Citrus Fillet instead. Blue Food will give you a bit more DPS if you can perfectly sustain it. With spell symmetry, you shouldn't have any issues with that. However, if you go with Clockwork Citrus Fillet, I just put 100 points into Arcanist to get the maximum out of the recovery. We still have 27 points into Tenacity. We do not really need them. If we ever do a heavy attack, it's kind of nice. And on trash fights, I recommend to go with a Lightning Staff. So Tenacity gives us back Magicka when we do heavy attacks. Then I have 44 into Tumbling, 48 into Shadowboard, 28 into Warlord, and 3 into Sprinter. For the red tree, 15 quick recovery, 49 hardy, 49 ally defender, 34 thick-skinned, 81 ironclad, 22 spell sheet. This is just my standard distribution. It depends on the trial you play. There's trials where you do not take physical poison or disease damage at all. There's trials where you take very few elemental damage or magic damage, or really like little damage over time. So you can just like, you need to figure out what type of damage you take in what trial, and then redistribute the champion points accordingly. For the blue tree, so I still have 75 points in Thaumaturge. The Magicka Decay has a lot of damage over time effects that deal a ton of DPS, and I kind of like it, especially because of the Exploiter passive. We still get 10% more damage against enemies that are off-balanced. I had my best results with this CP distribution. It's weird, I know. You could drop it down, like it's not like you need it. Like especially if you play with Elfbane, you use your whip a little bit more. So if you play with Elfbane, I drop your CP to 56 here on Thaumaturge, and just pump up here Mastered Arms to 56, and then 11 to Staff Expert. Because if you go play with Elfbane, your light attacks and your whip will be the strongest ability, so you want to boost them a little bit more here. And I still have 23 into Spell Erosion. If you need more points here, you can take out points from a little bit from Elfborn. And we have 56 into Elemental Export, 48 into Elfborn. But for your Erosion, just try to distribute the points a little bit accordingly. I think like 23 is a tad bit too much. I think like 18 should actually be enough, but yeah, it's kind of up to you. That's it for the champion points. For the before I talk about rotation, let's get back to skills one more time, because I keep forgetting it sometimes. So for trash fights, what you want to do is slot in Lightning Staff on the front bar. This is for trash only. For trash fights, you want to replace Zaan with Grothdar. This one here, because this deals AoE damage. Zaan is single target. And what you want to do is take out Spell Symmetry, go with a Lightning Staff. Like that's what I used to do, even like I think like 1.5, 2 years ago when I was playing on PS4. And then you go with Molten Armaments. Molten Armaments increases your fully charged heavy attacks by 40%. Also applies to the Lightning Staff, and you just replace Spell Symmetry with that skill, because you shouldn't need the sustain with the heavy attacks. And then you just put down your AoE, your Eruption, your Blockade, Trap, and then Flames of Oblivion, and you do heavy attacks. If you need to drop your ultimate, use Fiery Rage. That's basically how you play in trash fights. Just to make that sure. So for the rotation. The rotation is pretty simple. I use my 3 long dots. So Eruption, Trap, and the Flames of Oblivion. Because they all last a minimum of 15 seconds. Eruption, even 18. So I cast these. Then I go to my front bar and I go with Engulfing Flames, Burning Embers into a bar swap, Blockade of Fire into a bar swap. So all my 6 dots are down. Then I have time to do 5 actions. It used to be, I used to go with the 6, but I had, like, I now, because light attacks are really important, I do not want to let my blockade really run out. So I go with 5 instead. 5 actions. So that can be 5 whips or 4 whips and then spell symmetry. So I just do my, for example, my 5 whips, and then I have to reapply my dots again. So I go with Engulfing first, Burning, Blockade, and then I basically start all over. Eruption, Trap, Flames of Oblivion. Then I have time for 2 actions. So I just go 1, 2. Yeah, either 2 whips or a whip and spell symmetry, and then I cast Engulfing, Burning, Blockade. Then again, it's 5 actions. And basically, it starts over and over again. Keep in mind, your ultimate counts as 1 action. So if you like put down your dots and then you cast your Standard of Might, and you have time for 2 actions, you only have time for 1 again. So you go either spell symmetry or whip, and then Engulfing, Burning, Blockade. In a fight, wait 1 sec. Kind of looks like this. So I put down my dots. Eruption, Trap, Flames of Oblivion, and the other one here in Blockade. I'm sorry, food ran out. So again, Eruption, Trap, Flames of Oblivion, and then I do my Engulfing, Burning, Blockade, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then Engulfing, Burning, Blockade, and then again Eruption, Trap, Flames of Oblivion. Now I have time for 2. So 1, 2, then Burning, Engulfing and Burning, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Engulfing, Burning, Blockade, Eruption, Trap, Flames, 1, 2, Engulfing, Burning, Blockade, and again 5. It's really simple. Really, really simple. If you just follow these relatively easy instructions. If you go with Elfbane, let me just quickly equip it. Just need to get out of combat. If you go with Elfbane, basically what you do is you add two actions after the dots. So you can use 7 whips or 6 whips and spell symmetry, and then after you casted the backbar dots, you do not have time for two actions. You have time for 4, and then it basically looks like this. So I just cast my stuff, all my dots, make sure they're all up, and now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm casting the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm casting the short dots again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's basically how it works with Elfbane. Very similar, just add 2 more actions, basically 2 more whips. and a rotation, and you're good to go. Anyway guys, that's it for today. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button. If you have any further questions, ask them in the comment section, and if you do not want to miss any more ESO content, just hit the sub button. I'd really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the little bell next to the sub button so you do not miss any of my content, and you will always get notifications whenever I upload my stuff if you click on the little bell. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope you tune in next time too. So until then, bye bye.